And welcome to you around Australia to this first match of the 1988 Bledisloe Cup Series. More than 20,000 people jammed into the ground. It's a sellout crowd. We have had just a little bit of drizzle leading up to kick-off, but the ground will be firm and fast, weather overcast and no breeze. New Zealand going into this game as a strong favourite. Well, welcome to Concord Oval, a very stirring occasion. The All Blacks regained the Bledisloe Cup here last year, beating Australia by 30 points to 16. And the Kiwis are also our oldest enemy on the rugby field. Australia first played New Zealand way back in 1903 at the SCG, and victory went to the Kiwis, and they've had the balance of power ever since. With me is Chris Handy, a great occasion.
Fabulous occasion, Gordon, and it really is a stirring place to be part of today.
Yes, who are you tipping?
Well, the favourites definitely New Zealand. By 10 points, I would say they deserve it. They're current world champions. They have strong forwards who not only win but use the ball. Their backs are great, but Australia must run the ball at them all day today and not give in.
Collectively, this Australian side has played 88 more test matches than New Zealand. The forward pack has an 18-kilogram advantage. The All Black lineup contains 13 of the team that recently scored 104 points in 2 tests against Wales. The new men are centre John Schuster, who today becomes a dual international, having played 2 tests for his homeland Western Samoa. Otago captain Mike Brewer is the new open side flanker, with Michael Jones certain to return for the 2 Saturday tests. And there is the symbol of Trans-Tasman supremacy, the Bledisloe Cup, donated by Lord Bledisloe, the Governor of New Zealand, way back in 1930. So a really tremendous atmosphere here at Concord Oval, and some marvellous duels in prospect as we await the Australian team to be led out by Nick Farr-Jones. The recall of Simon Poitevin means he plays his 15th test against the All Blacks, more than any other player in history. David Campese, the senior member of the back line, playing his 37th test match.
Welcome onto the field by the crowd singing Waltzing Matilda. A fantastic feeling right about the ground, right through it.
And of interest to those of you the Sydney Suburban combined side by 25 points to 12 after trailing 21-0. So shortly we'll have the national anthems. This is the 28th time the Bledisloe Cup has been contested between these 2 giants of international rugby.
And isn't it an amazing statistic, Gordon, that since the first test in 1974, the All Blacks have failed to win the first test match of a series here in Australia.
Australia last won the Bledisloe. there's certainly not a spare seat in the house here at Concord Oval for this match between Australia and New Zealand. The sides have met on 83 occasions, New Zealand winning 58, Australia 21 with 4 draws. And Wayne Shelford, the All Black skipper, now to lead the haka. New Zealand on a demanding tour of Australia, 13 games in 6.5 weeks, including 3 test matches. They've had 4 tour matches thus far, with victories over Western Australia, Randwick, Australia B and New South Wales country. Simon Poitevin, his 48th test match this afternoon, recalled from retirement for this game. And he'll be having a running battle with the New Zealand skipper, number 8, Wayne Shelford. It started at Coogee Oval just 10 days ago. The referee, Fred Howard, a 39-year-old schoolmaster from St Helens in the north of England. He's the man who sent off David Cody in the playoff for 3rd at Rotorua last year. And the first touch from Fox to Gallagher. And Ian Williams quickly in the play, mishandling the slippery ball. Yes, we have had a few showers just before the game after delightful conditions leading up to kick-off. And a mistake by Australia.
Yes, Gordon, too early for those mistakes to occur. That was a prime opportunity. Gallagher forced to come to the open side, and Williams, that nervousness that comes early in test matches anywhere, but particularly against the All Blacks, showing up. Good chance to look at the 2 scrums though. Good pressure on both sides.
The referee, a free kick to New Zealand. Australia not allowing a clear tunnel. And Grant Fox to take play into Australia's half. And the forwards are going to follow. Leeds underneath. Dean's first man there. Leeds took it well. Quickly to his feet. Australia clear it now. Michael Cook.
Well, New Zealand disclosing their hand early. Instead of going up the touchline as they may have against Wales, they put the ball in behind Australia and tried to get their forwards going further. But Leeds right up to the task and assisted by his Australian forwards in keeping him up off the ground and out of the way of the flying boots of the men in black.
Sean Fitzpatrick, All Black hooker. Gardner doing well, but Gary Wetton tapped it back. Schuster following. Again, pressure for Leeds. He took it, and there's a try to McDowell. First points to New Zealand. There was a suggestion there that Leeds may have been tackled without having the ball after he mishandled.
Well, I think you'll find it was, but there was an advantage being played from the first line out. The ball goes high in the air. Leeds gets to the ball, and here he's now in position of getting at the ball coming forward. It always underlines the fact that you must go for the ball. Here in the line out, over the top there, the work of Murray Pearce it was, scooping that ball back, number 4. And the ball from Fox, their tactics earlier obvious, hoisting it high in behind the Australians. And Leeds did everything right except he was blocked as Schuster came across the front, and Steve McDowell couldn't believe his luck, over in the first minute of the game.
So a sensational start here by New Zealand. The Australian supporters numbed by that setback. Grant Fox, 12 metres in from touch. Just 3 minutes gone. And he's hooked it. New Zealand by 4.
Well, how costly that mistake of Ian Williams has proven, Gordon. It's, you know, obvious now. The tactics of the All Blacks are to hoist that ball high, and they'll continue to do so.
Gallagher again. This time he goes for the far touchline. And he makes no mistake. Just 8 metres from the halfway line. Short line out by Australia. Far Jones clears to Liner. Looking to land this one inside the touchline. What a magnificent kick.
Well, there Australia attacking their two most prolific weapons in this game. Their short line out, the height and the ability of that line out to win at least 60% of the ball. And Michael Liner sniping up the line and now into a good attacking position.
Chris Wiley, the great All Black back rower of the 70s. New Zealand coach. Wetton, back swabbily, almost a try to Australia.
Australian players held back in that line out too, fighting to get free. Fred Howard on the spot, watching them come towards, and now a test for Australia. 5 metre scrum there put in. Must keep it stable.
Liner, kicking across for Campese. Tester for Kerwin. Taken by Gary Ella. Australia looking for the more ball. It's a try! No, the referee says he didn't ground the ball. Back to the 22.
And Bob Dwyer looks on in disbelief. Referee Howard right on the spot, and there'll be some talk about that one after the game. Did he ground it or was he held up?
Simon Poitevin was the man who appeared to ground the ball over the goal line. And that came after only 6 minutes of play. It's all happening here at Concord.
Great work by the Australians. Liner hoisted the ball high, and there's Poitevin there, and the ball correctly pops up out of his hand as he lifts to ground it.
Now here's Michael Cook charging into the All Black forwards. Great straight running by the Australian inside centre. Cutler takes it on, New Zealand offside. And the Australians showing their hand early on too.
Well, therein lies that difference. Another Australian team would have let that ball go to the backs, but Cutler seeing the men close. They need to pick up and run it at the All Blacks, and they did it and found the error.
Midway, 22 and halfway, New Zealand territory. And the Australian coach, Bob Dwyer. As some say, the return of the Messiah, Dwyer. He's here to finish the work he began back in 1982. Gary Wetton doing well at the front. Good ball for New Zealand. Schuster looking for a big slice of territory. This is Campese. And a good reply from the Australian left wing back up towards halfway.
And that time, David Campese getting on with the job. Moved to the ball quickly, stepped inside his 22 and returned down the line, unlike his slow and easy one of some minutes prior.
Steve Cutler wearing jersey number 5 for Australia. Wetton also the same number. Murray Pearce jumping at 4 and wearing 4. Mike Brewer at the back. And this time Leeds has a bit more time. He was outside his 22. Gallagher for New Zealand. Men in support here. Gallagher goes across field. Michael Liner. And Australia. Liner dropped the ball. He was ankle tapped. And the referee will pull it back for the knock-on.
Well, Michael Liner looking for that little bit of edge, that little bit more angle, and unfortunately spills the ball. All Blacks feed to this scrum here. Dangerous attacking opportunity for them.
Grant Fox. Cut out now to Stanley, and here's Kerwin. He's through, and it's another New Zealand try. Straight through the tackles of the Australian men out wide, including Campese. Round 1 to Kerwin.
Well, there was little fantastic about this. Firstly, the mistake from Liner created the situation. The double cut out, missed by Leeds and badly missed by David Campese. Just straight, hard running try, John Kerwin. Just watch it. There to Fox, cut Schuster, cut Gallagher, wing coming straight. Poor attempt of tackle by Leeds, but he was Campese's man out wide and he missed him all ends up.
Well, the Australian players really staggered by this New Zealand start. 2 tries in the first 10 minutes of play. And we've seen at least 5 mistakes by the Australians in the opening stanza. Grant Fox, a much closer position. And New Zealand to double figures. 10 minutes gone first half.
As an old mate of mine, John Connolly, says, rugby's a game in which you pay for your mistakes very dearly. It's never been more evident than here in the first few minutes of this test match. Australia just forced with the pressure of the situation into making a couple of bad decisions. Simple errors, the All Blacks capitalising.
Grant Fox for New Zealand, keeping the ball inside the touchline. This is Leeds. Far Jones with him, a long pass to Liner, and Ian Williams outside. This time he holds on. Good tackling though from New Zealand, John Schuster. And the All Blacks in control at the breakdown, holding the man on the ground.
Holding on to the ball on the ground, says referee Fred Howard. The men in black were there. The Australians, except for Julian Gardner, obvious by their absence.
Leeds coming in again. He took it confidently on his chest. It comes out New Zealand's way. The ball's out. Deans. Well, the Australians held off there. I don't know why, because the ball was out of the ruck. And New Zealand looking dangerous again. McDowell cleared it. Schuster. There's an overlap here for Cohen. Try number 2. What a start by New Zealand.
Well, simple but great pressure rugby. They caught Australia with their pants down. They were skinny out wide, and it simply meant the ball moving through the hands. And look, Kerwin can't believe his luck. He's gone outside the defence twice. Dean started it all. Australia were offside from the ruck, but the advantage was played. Deans took it up, and look at this beautiful ball laid back here. Alan Wetton follows out Shelford, and look at it laid back on a plate there. Steve McDowell, the halfback come front rower, is in. Just a shift of hands. Not a pace was taken, just clearly a try.
And John Kerwin breaks the New Zealand try-scoring record. Kerwin now 20 test match tries, beating Stu Wilson's record of 19. 14-0 to the All Blacks. 3 tries to 0. Grant Fox misses with his second conversion attempt. 1 out of 3 for him. And so some relief there for the Australians. Remember, they were 10 points down against England in the first test at Ballymore.
Chris Riley just there, a little wry mention out of the corner of his mouth.
Well, it's been a dream start for the All Blacks. The Australian mistakes have come consistently, and Campese now. A loose pass, they're throwing it away. Williams, back to Far Jones. Composure is the name of the game here for Australia.
Well, this is a test of the mettle of this this Wallaby team. It isn't the time for anything out of the box to score the points. It's 14 points ahead. They must work slowly but surely down into the deep into the New Zealand territory and await their opportunities.
30 metres out from New Zealand's goal line. Again, the line-out ball goes cleanly for Bruce Deans. And so does the bounce. Just inside Australia's half.
The All Blacks yet to make a mistake.
A lot of scruffing in the line-out. Liner to Poitevin. He bounces off Brewer. Australians looking for the ruck ball. Hand in the ruck by New Zealand.
Murray Pearce, I think the player there. It was Alan Wetton wrestling with Poitevin for the ball, but centre field. Australia can only but work this ball deep into All Black territory.
Yes, it's important now that the Australians, Chris, settle into their pattern and composure and not try and do too much in the early stages. They are trailing 14-0, but it's not panic stations.
Certainly, Gordon. If this was a team put on the field simply by pump-up motivation, then and that man Dwyer isn't the man for that sort of thing, then really it would all be gone now and they would have nothing left to give. But these are Australians, these are Wallabies with great character, and now will be the judge of it. Between now and half-time, they must work slowly but surely to close that 14-point gap.
Alan Wetton at the back. New Zealand leading 5-4 in the line-outs, and Fox put under pressure with a loose pass. Angry words exchanged there between Fox and Deans. He says, I want it on my right side, please. Clear half-metre tunnel required. New Zealand 14-0. Cutler at the back, and again they come away. And Deans gains valuable metres.
Well, therein lies the difference, the ability to keep the pressure on. Cutler, the throw was to the back, and Murray Pearce, it was getting in front of Cutler, an area where he's been left wanting.
Taken by Carter. New Zealand offside there. The referee playing advantage. Gary Ellis crunched. Oh, that was a solid tackle.
Clear advantage played by referee Fred Howard, and he's been very crisp in his decision-making, giving a couple of warnings on the run and also calling that he's playing advantage, which is an assistant. But there, Ella walking into the immovable wall, John Schuster.
Yes, well, a very impressive display so far from the referee, leaving the players in no doubt at all, as you say, Chris, but desperate points and desperate straights for Australia.
14-point start is a big one to give any team in a test match, let alone the All Blacks. They've shown they've been able to lead from the front and also come from behind, and I don't think the Aussies are out of this by any stretch of the imagination.
But their task will be made a lot easier if Liner can slot this one. 35 metres out. 6 in from touch. Lovely strike of the ball. Hit the post. Still in play. New Zealand in trouble. They've lost a head. The try's on here for Australia, but they couldn't get the ball.
Well, Michael Liner had already turned to run back to halfway. Such was his belief that that would pass through between the posts. But it's a game of opportunism as well. It's here Australia must continue to apply the pressure and not lose possession.
Australia needs some inspiration here. Far Jones. Cook, run around. The pass was knocked down by Schuster. Well, the referee unsighted that time.
Yeah, you were right. It was intentional knockdown. Bob Dwyer calling for it as well. Schuster holding the man with one hand, reaching out and knocking the ball to the ground. It was fairly clear, but to give him his due coming from the other side, difficult to see.
Murray Pearce with a loose tap for Deans. So New Zealand countering Australia in the lineouts. Australian back standing deep. 18 minutes, first half. 3 tries for New Zealand. Gardner. Good clearance by Far Jones. Here's Ella and Campisi. They were waiting for him. He stands in the tackle. And Australia has the scrum feed.
Good flatline defence by the New Zealand backs. They've got their act together. Exposed a little bit by Australia B last week. But the two times Ella and Campese have hit the line, they've run into the wall.
I think we're safe to say that no All Black side has led by 14-0 and lost a test match. And here's Campese with a bit of space. There's the support from Poitevin. Australia carry on. 8 metres out. Ruck ball. Far Jones sniping. 5 metres out. Here they go. This is more like it, Australia. Poitevin in there. 4 metres out from the All Black goal line.
A little lucky to get away with the ball pushed back. They're assisted back with a hand, but maybe the referee said it was out of the ruck. It could quite easily have been done so. But this is it, maintaining possession in the pressure zone. They're inside the 22 and they must keep the ball in their hands and stay on their feet, Australia, if they're to score points.
Tight head for New Zealand. Clean strike by Sean Fitzpatrick. Australia still has the scrum feed.
Well, that's the difference between the two sides still there. But Australia get the put in, and that one will be disputed. The ball gone to ground, carried forward by the All Blacks from the previous play. But still Australia gets the put in because they are the attacking team in referee Fred Howard's mind. A little lucky to maintain possession there.
Yes, the referee ruling that the ruck was static.
Andy McIntyre caught really sideways there, putting pressure on.
Liner. What can Australia do here? Here comes Ian Williams. Yes, it's a try! Oh, what a try by Ian Williams! The All Blacks thought it was going over the dead ball line, and Australia bounces back.
Well, this is one fantastic effort. This, for all intents and purposes, was rolling into touch and goal, and Terry Wright had the complete right to do so. But look, Williams there and downwards pressure is all that's required to score the try. Referee Howard on the spot. Australia nearly blew it in that scrum. The front row got caught awkwardly. It's the dummy switch and then the kick for Williams, and it looked for all the world that it was going deep. And look, Williams would not let up. Keen to judge from his previous mistake, and a great opportunist try to Ian Williams. There's no doubt about that one, Gordon. We have the hindsight of the replay, but even in the normal eye, it was definitely a try.
And referee Howard in perfect position. Ian Williams now 5 tries in his 5 test matches. Australia trailing by 10. Liner well outside the right-hand upright. But a real morale booster there for the men in goal.
It sure was. The dummy switch inside. Have a look at it. Liner stands up with Cook going back. They just hesitated a fraction. Schuster wiped Liner out as he kicked. But Terry Wright, for all intents and purposes, thought this ball was going out. Not so.
So the Australians maintaining pressure for a 10-minute period, and it reaped dividends. Trailer set it up here. All Blacks pouring through. Here's Poitevin in close. Tries to get round Shelford. Strong running by the Wallaby flanker. And the referee telling Tommy Lawton there not to use his boot.
I don't think he was using boots on anything but his own players going forward over the top. Nothing can stop it when it starts moving dynamically like that.
Stronger Australian scrum. Liner finding right with Gallagher in support. Gallagher coming through. Knock back. Far Jones. Straight ahead. That's the way to go. Great running from the Australian skipper. Trying to make it available. Lawton sets up. Poitevin goes again. Here it is. Liner. Numbers here for Australia. Campese. Gardner couldn't hold on. Enterprising play, though, from the Australians.
Doesn't need enterprise, though, at this stage, Jordan. It needs just holding onto the ball in the tackle. Squeezing the last pass away is not on.
5 from halfway. Schuster follows again. Australia's looked pretty thin at the back under the high ball, but not this time, Andrew Leeds.
Leeds getting a horrible pepper. Referee says static maul. No team going forward, therefore the advantage goes to the attacking team, and he's quite right.
Bruce Deans, known as Diesel to his teammates, playing in only his 3rd test match. Fox has gone on the blind side and the scrum has gone down. "37 metres out from Australia's goal line. And not in straight against Bruce Deans.
Good pressure applied there by the Australians. The referee says feed it down the middle, thank you, but a little lucky.
Funny kick from Liner. Grant Fox making no mistake with his reply. And Australia really back to where they started.
We see again those errors unmercifully punished by the All Blacks.
Cutler taps well. Liner straightening up again. Back to Gardner. All Black player lying near the ball. Cook. He follows. That's a good one too. Gallagher in. Cook took it brilliantly. Set up for Australia, but flashed away by Shelford. And John Kerwin back down towards the goal line. Andrew Leeds in the last line.
2 pieces of individual brilliance there. Firstly, Michael Cook through, and he goes for the ball up above. He does beautifully, but watch him roll and feed the ball back Australia's way. That ball now is free and available to be played by a player coming from the opposition, and Shelford did that. Picked up, shuffle wide and counter-attacked.
Brewer and Poitevin at the back. Big jump by Murray Pearce, two-hander. Australians didn't seem to contest that one. They're trying to roll it. Fox, Schuster, through the tackle of Cook. Brewer, great run from him. Terry Wright, wrapped up by Williams, but he's not on the ground. Parr Jones goes in for it. Australia trying to slip it back, but it's New Zealand's feed just 10 metres out from the goal line.
Well, again, we find the simple mistake responsible for pressure on Australia. The missed tackle, Michael Cook on John Schuster. Schuster simply going to set it up for the back row second phase play and wasn't put to deck.
Loose ball here for New Zealand. Shelford picks up.
Great scrum from Australia.
Tremendous pressure there from the Australian 8.
But they'll need to do it again. Sean Fitzpatrick, he's a great asset to that New Zealand front row. Comes across hard on Andy McIntyre.
New Zealand has scored 2 tries out wide through Kerwin. Deans across field. The Australians just waiting there, not watching the ball. They were watching the man.
I think that time that was the right option, Gordon, just to wait and see. They were doing all their tricks behind the advantage line. It was just the time to wait to see who finally ended up with the ball and then make the tackle.
10 metres out. Shelford. Gardner the tackle. Wetton lost ahead New Zealand. This is Simon Poitevin. And good crunching defence there from Australia around the scrum base.
Simon Poitevin, number 6, in there to do the dirty work. Take it up tough.
"12 minutes before half-time. Well, another try here for New Zealand would almost assuredly wrap up the test match. Still a long way to go, but Australia really in dire straits.
There, Damien Frawley and Andy McIntyre. It'll take a big toll, and behind him, David Carter in the line-out. New Zealand are doing the better in the 8-man contest, in the 7-man contest, but Australia, the short line-out, has been a very good weapon for them.
"22-metre line. Brewer knocked on. But Australia looking to get out of their quarter. Steve McDowell penalised for not crouching and engaging. And that's a much better kick from Liner. One the Australians were hoping for.
Does two things, that kick. It puts Australia on the front foot, and it puts Grant Fox out of what would be normal range. So it's a great way of taking off pressure, Michael Liner.
30 minutes of play gone thus far, and no stoppages so far for injury. Loose tap by Wetton. Australia pouring through on Deans. Picked up though by that man, Wayne Shelford, on hand to save the situation for New Zealand. Fox. Terry Wright coming through on Leeds. Now it's Far Jones outside his 22. Brewer. And obstruction there by New Zealand. Richard Lowe, the big man from Waikato, use of the elbow.
Unnecessary. Griswiley, the All Black coach, would be a little disgusted with that. Brewer had it quite under control. Richard Lowe there, his nephew, the All Black coach's nephew, playing tight head for the All Blacks.
Australia following. Well, that should have been a penalty, New Zealand. New Zealand players tackle without the ball.
Quite rightly so, and it's that inability that Australia has to continue that pressure once they have it. Michael Cook over-exuberant, making the contact prior to the ball dropping. They should be playing the ball in the air.
Gary Wetton jumping at number 2. Cutler. Liner to Cook. Good running here by the backs. Poitevin supports. Here they go. Leeds is in. Lovely hands to Williams. Williams bursts through. He's still going. Poitevin. Australia on the rampage here. Here it comes. Liner. Now it's Cook. The ball made available. Australia scrum feet in front of the posts.
Good continuity from Australia then. Good phases of play followed. It was Cook taking the ball up. The last pass would have been risky, so he held on and kept the pressure on.
Right side for Australia. Another chip ahead. Williams there. Williams! The referee rules a knock-on.
Came forward off a gold arm in the air. Much to the disappointment of Williams. Here it is up. There the arms of the gold jerseys. Forward and then down. Even though the players went forward of the ball as it dropped. Come forward off the forearm.
Well, Australia's been over the goal line. Twice now, Poitevin was held up. And a knock-on ruled there by referee Fred Howard. 1 metre out from the goal line. New Zealand scrum is rock solid. And a fine effort there by Grant Fox, taking play just outside the 22.
And this is where the four-man line-out should be employed by Australia, and I think it is going to be. It's the sort of quick ball that they need to be able to run the ball back at the All Blacks.
Cutler again, doing well in the middle. Liner, looking for a gap. Gardner, they're running straight at the All Blacks in close. Big drive here from Australia. Here it comes, there's numbers here for Australia. Campese, Liner, 5 metres out. The All Blacks holding on. And they've got the loose ball, and somehow they scramble it away.
Great attack from Australia, but equally good defence from the All Blacks. They came in numbers, the men in the black jumpers. They were there when there were chips who were down. They were skinny out wide with 3 players and Campese running at them, but they had the support. They had the men inside.
Australia now being penalised. Stamping on one of the New Zealand players against Julian Gardner. Penalty to New Zealand.
Clear signal on the report of the touch judge. Here the ball worked up, and look at the black jerseys arrive. This is good play from Australia, but Gallagher goes wide, and they're inside. Number 1, number 5, and on the ground, number 6. Look at the All Blacks there to be able to support their men. Equally good attack and defence.
5 minutes before half-time. Australia giving away a 14-point lead. Three tries to New Zealand in the first 11 minutes of play. Murray Pearce. Fox cleared. This is Schuster. Stanley, barrel in the tackle. Cleared by Murray Pearce, and here's Gallagher looming up. Deans, great running from New Zealand. Schuster still going. Pile driving play from the All Blacks. Here it comes. Fox to Cohen, looking for number 3. He almost got there. Knock on by New Zealand. And gallantry there from the Australian defence.
Great forward play by the All Blacks that time. Great support from their back row, who have been absolutely sensational at getting to the back row, the breakdown. They're able to continue the play forward by staying on their feet and picking up Kerwin in the play. Great work by New Zealand.
So Wayne Shelford now having it.
Here the ball comes wide through Schuster. Joe Stanley places the ball to the ground, and there it was, Alan Wenton, there to make the link between him and the men outside. And still they keep that possession, and still they stay on their feet. Schuster, it took a long time to pull him to ground, and joined by the forwards there, still on their feet. Good continuity. And here, Kerwin dangerous, but great defence from Australia as Julian Gardner hangs on by his fingernails.
New Zealand wheel the Australian scrum. And against one of the New Zealand back row players, playing the ball in the front row.
Screwing the scrum, there's all sorts of different laws apply when that scrum screws, and one means the player can't play it in the scrum.
So Australia still breathing. And remember, in 1984, after winning the first test, Australia went out to a 12-0 lead at Ballymore, scoring 2 early tries. New Zealand came back and won the game.
Let's drive it. Drive it.
3 minutes before half-time. Taken by Shelford. He ran into Far Jones. Good ball here for New Zealand. Fox just hesitating. Now the Gary Owen. Campisi goes in. Deans. Plenty of gold jerseys there. Fox. Stanley. Gallagher. Kerwin's outside. He went without it. Gardner. Still in play. Australia counter. Cook. Terry Wright and Gary Ella. This is dangerous. No advantage there to Australia. John Kerwin has been penalised. He was ruled offside by the referee, Fred Howard.
That was a fairly technical one, but still good play by the All Blacks to keep the ball up there, but equally good defence by Australia. And Michael Cook thought about working the ball wide, but decided to go down the line with the kick to safety, but the kick wasn't such a good one.
Well, had it have been Ian Williams outside, I'm sure he would have passed it.
Probably right.
Because I think there was only one All Black forward there marking.
You're asking the wrong person. I'd have passed it anyway.
New Zealand by 10 points. New Zealand enjoying the line-outs by 10-7. And good tackle there by Poitevin. Fox to Stanley again. Crunched in the tackle, Cook underneath, but strong running by Joe. Cutler gets the ball. Advantage there for New Zealand. Numbers here. Kerwin clapping on the pace. Still going. Wetton. Try-saving tackle. Nick Farr-Jones it was.
Gary Wetton on the far side, running like a John Kerwin in drag. Have a look at it. It's Alan Wetton, the back rower, and he's been everywhere today, and the touch has been given before the ball, but it was still available, and he stepped into touch. Great support play from the back rower. He was out there from the original play, but he's covering enormous territory today. Therein lies a little bit of the difference. The mistakes are heavy, but the support from the New Zealand back row is great.
So there it is at half-time. Let's run through the scorers for New Zealand. John Kerwin becoming the new Test record holder for the Kiwis. 2 tries, but the first one went to Steve McDowell after a handling mistake by Australia. New Zealand away to a 14-0 lead, and then Ian Williams coming back in the 21st minute, 14-4. Well, it really has been an enthralling Test match so far, and an electric start by the All Blacks here, Chris Handy. 3 tries in the first 11 minutes, but you can't write these Australians off.
No, by no means can you write them off, but that's a big start to give to the All Blacks. It was early mistakes that cost Australia dearly. Since that time, they haven't really been able to get back into the match. They are tending to rush the ball across the line and to make that last try-scoring pass instead of holding onto the ball and keeping the pressure on. New Zealand are doing it, and that's why they're right up there. Their back row are working tremendously efficiently, getting to their inside backs running straight, and Australia are just not able to get onto the front foot.
Yes, well, several times we've seen the Australians cut and thrust, but as you say, Wayne Shelford, Alan Wetton and Mike Brewer often able to slip that ball away and maintain continuity for New Zealand. But stern words being laid down to both teams at the moment. And it's been a very clean match, really. Just one incident.
I think
and no injuries.
Yeah, referee Fred Howard has done a marvellous job. It's very clean and crisp. The decisions are clear. He's playing very good advantage, and that helps for some free running. And the tries that we've seen are certainly evidence of that. But what a great crowd here. They're climbing up trees. They're standing on top of bus sheds and the whole lot around the ground. There's great feeling here because it's definitely not over yet.
Yes, talk about bird's eye views.
I've been up, and there we go, up the tree, the lot.
I'm glad it's him and not you, all right. But in the old days, I know in race meetings, when the broadcasters were banned, they used to call from outside the race course in trees.
Gladly we've got better facilities than that, but this is truly a Test match. It's wonderful stuff. All Blacks showing good poise and great conviction in the way that they're carrying out their game, working it into the 22, and they've used that high ball to great success, choosing instead of going up the line and giving Australia the chance to win the line out, they're keeping the ball in play and putting pressure on in behind the Wallaby pack.
New Zealand has crossed Australia's 3 times, hit their line 3 times, and McDowell and John Kirwan twice have been the try scorers. Australia has also been across the New Zealand line 3 times, only 1 try awarded though to Ian Williams in the 21st minute. Simon Poitevin was held up in a tackle in about the 6th minute, and then Ian Williams grounded the ball, but the referee ruled a knock forward. It certainly was a hairline decision. So 25-year-old Grant Fox, 177 points in Test football prior to this game for New Zealand, and he's chasing Don Clark's all-time record of 207. The All Blacks in a commanding position at half-time, a 10-point advantage, and Australia with it all to do in this second period. And it's up to the Australian forwards now to lead the way. Parr Jones to Liner. And a big kick by Liner. A mighty one. Williams up quickly.
Great execution there. Good support from the forwards around the ball catcher, Steve Cutler, who's been left on his own a little bit too much. Good execution from Liner.
So it's Fitzpatrick throwing into this line out, just 30 metres out from the All Black goal line. Brewer doing well at the back. McIntyre coming through the maul. Referee ruling the ball was out. But Chris, Australia not enjoying the possession from the line-outs that they'd expected.
No, I don't. Not through the full line-out. Although we see them win there, maybe that half-time break's been able to put their mind to the job a bit more.
Here's Cook through on John Gallagher. No mark awarded. Australia with a penalty under the posts, not releasing the ball, John Gallagher.
Well, the All Blacks are stunned because they believed that Gallagher had claimed the fair catch. And referee Howard saying he wasn't stationary and it was play on. And I think Gallagher was stunned as well and forgot to release as he hit the deck. I think he was waiting for the whistle for the fair catch, and so we see that pressure applied now by Australia that was the other way around early in the first half.
Yes, well, you have to be stationary with both feet on the ground inside your quarter. The mark wasn't awarded, and Liner should have no trouble with a 3-pointer here. Amazingly, 7 points the difference. New Zealand has scored 3 tries to 1. Well, the Australians, Chris, have gained in confidence since the early setback.
Here we see the early ball taken by Gallagher, who I believe is fairly standing on the ground. Referee Fred Howard says he was moving to the side, I'm sure, but all the All Blacks stood back, waiting for that fair catch to be given.
Yes, well, his left foot, as you saw there before he took it, was moving, so maybe that's what caught the eye of referee Fred Howard. Again, nothing in it. New Zealand controlling from the kickoff. Big push from the Australian forwards. Now the All Blacks come back. Well, neither side gaining a centimetre here. New Zealand do now. And I don't think anyone knows where the ball is. The All Blacks tried to get the rolling ball going.
That's a strange interpretation. He'd held his hand out favouring the advantage to Australia. The maul went nowhere, and as it packs down, he gives the put into the All Blacks.
Mark Harthill on this side, opposed to Richard Lowe. Harthill played at tight head in all 3 tests of the '86 Bledisloe Cup Series, tacking down against Steve McDowell in the last 2. Dean somehow got that one out. Fox again with this testing punt kick. Leeds brilliant. He's only dropped 1, and that resulted in a try in the 2nd minute.
Critical situation for Australia. Though they win the ball, if you're in your own territory, you must be going forward or not responsible for the breakdown to get the put in. And it wasn't sufficient for Leeds to catch and stand on his feet. He needed the support from his back row to drive him forward to get the put into the scrum.
There's a good Australian scrum. Dean's got it out. There's an overlap for New Zealand. Fox back inside to Shelford. It's Wetton. Has scored New Zealand's 4th try.
Well, he proved throughout the World Cup that he could score a try a game, and this was perfectly set up for him. They were a man short out wide, Australia. Fox came back inside, and instead of looking for Schuster, he found the power and the strength of the back rower, Alan Wetton. What a great try. This is due payment for a game well played to date. Alan Wetton has been on everything. He's had his head down and his tail up. He runs some interference there and picks up a beautifully timed pass from Fox and puts up another 4 points for the All Blacks.
Well, the Australians put on a tremendous 8-man shove there against the All Black pack, but there was no one at home there for the defence on the blind side. And that might well take the stuffing out of the Australians, who were clawing their way back. Capacity crowd of 20,000 spectators. Grant Fox adds the extras, and New Zealand back out to a 13-point advantage.
Well, they say when the things are going best is the time that you're most at risk, and that was certainly right for Australia. There, the sharp move to the blind side with the extra man, and instead of going wide, they came back into the strength.
And what fabulous communication there by Fox and his Auckland teammate Alan Wetton. Alan Wetton, you'll recall, scored a try in every World Cup game except the final. Grant Fox almost scored his 1st try just then. 4-man Australian line-out. New Zealand ahead 12-8 in that department. Steve McDowell sweeping. Now it's Fitzpatrick. Lawton the tackler. This is Richard Lowe. Straight into Far Jones. Ball's available for Deans. Campese underneath. Shelford through.
Still they come with the ball in behind the Australians. It's been a very successful tactic for them. Kept that ball in play, and they've got the men there to put the pressure on.
Sean Fitzpatrick, the son of the great BBJ Fitzpatrick, the All Black fly half, brilliant player of the early 50s.
Perfect view of the line out. Ball probably to 6.
Brewer at the back. Here's Poitevin. He's played courageously this afternoon. Liner. He's found a space here. And the touch judge, Mr. Bob Fordham, all but bowled over by Sean Fitzpatrick.
Julian Gardner down in back play on the halfway line. Jordan. And from all around Australia, I'm sure there are rugby devotees glued to their TV sets.
Yes, well, I know you've got a very hectic itinerary coming up. You're off to ACT on Wednesday for the All Blacks game.
Eastern Suburbs we're speaking at before the game. That'll be great. And then across to South Australia to Old Collegians. Hopefully they're glued to their sets as well. I'm looking forward to getting over there. Great play there from Michael Liner in the replay. Saw the open spaces and then down the line. But just a great cover telecast, this going live throughout Sydney and also through the east coast of Australia.
And one of our colleagues, Peter Longman, ABC commentator, calling the game today on ABC Radio, under duress, I might add, because his wife, Wendy, gave birth to twins last night.
Yes, most magnificent. My old compatriot from Queensland, twin, a boy and a girl, Thea and Hugh. And I know that nobody will mind me telling people in Queensland about that. Great news in the Longman family for he and Wendy.
Joe Stanley's been having a bit of attention too from New Zealand physio. He's had a knock about the head. But the All Blacks leading by 13 points. 8 minutes elapsed, second half. Gary Wetton, powerful at the front, out jumping Frawley. New Zealand ruck it back. Grant Fox almost charged down. Getting his kick in split-second timing. Well, for Australia to win from here, it would be the equivalent of scaling Mount Everest, I'd say. Here's Michael Cook. Not able to follow that one. Bruce Deans. And that one off the side of his boot. Against Michael Cook for obstruction after the kick.
I don't think it was after the kick, Gordon. I think it was he used the shoulder in the tackle. Otherwise, the kick would be downfield where the ball lands or infield from the sideline. He was following through, but it was considered a dangerous shoulder charge rather than a late tackle. I think they'll hoist the ball in behind the Australian pack.
Leeds coming through again. So secure under the high ball. And he was flung into touch by Murray Pearce.
Murray Pearce playing a whale of a game today. He's been used as the swinger in the line-out, jumping against Steve Cutler, and also often he's been able to get that spoiling hand in front of Cutler in the line-out, particularly when he's playing at the back.
The Australians really struggling for possession in this second half. Good ball here for Schuster. Barrelling tackle there from Cook, and the Australian forwards there in numbers. New Zealand come back.
New Zealand getting the put in again. Not only going forward, but also the attacking team. And that's what happens when they get caught behind the advantage line. They move forward so that they ensure at least they get the put into the scrum.
Pulverising tackle there from Michael Cook at inside centre. Fox. Just a low torpedo kick. Here's Campese. Kerwin in front. Bad pass. Leeds knocked it back. Here's Williams. Where's he going? Liner. Well, the Australians really chancing their arm that time, but not a good pass from Campese to Leeds.
Tried to be a little bit cute with that. Just hold on a fraction. You already had the man drawn, right? Kerwin should have let that ball go earlier if, in fact, he was to let it go.
Number 3 there, Richard Lowe, scored 2 tries for Waikato against Wales in their famous victory just 2 months ago. Here's Joe Stanley. Good ball to Schuster. Through the tackle. Gabriella missed him. 22-metre line. Brewer's there. Fox. Australia with numbers. Williams. Right. He knocked on. And here's Gabriella. Australia counter. Leads. A close thing there for the Wallabies.
Lucky days for Australia. All Blacks attacked well, but it was good defence eventually that forced them across into touch. The kick over the top was right on until it was lost forward.
The Australians missing 11 players from last year's World Cup campaign through unavailability and injury. Fitzpatrick with a pinpoint throw. New Zealand again control it expertly. Now they roll it. Shelford slips it back. That's Alan Wetton. Schuster. Kerwin. They hesitated. Mike Brewer, a very strong game. Australia diving over the top, not staying on their feet. Straightforward kick here for Grant Fox.
Well, the frustration showing a little bit. All Blacks being able to secrete that ball from Australia. Good play when Kerwin brings it back inside, and there the man gets to him and secures. Brewer it is. The pace has been good. They say going over, but Mark Harthill standing on the other side, I believe it was probably more the players came into him than him going over the top.
That's Sinzan Brook, who's played just the one test match in the World Cup. Mike Brewer's had a couple of knocks. Grant Fox has 4 points in this game. 34 in the series against Wales. This to increase New Zealand's lead to 15 points. Grant Fox doesn't miss those ones. A 16-point lead for the All Blacks. Murray Pearce took it well. New Zealand far superior in receiving at the kickoff. Shelford into Liner. 3 men to bring him down. Boustines. He lost the ball.
Good pressure from Mark Harthill that time. The ball coming back to short side, keeping it under control, the All Blacks.
Sean Fitzpatrick stunned momentarily. Liner, Tuella, back to Liner, Campese, now Williams with a bit of room. Gallagher, good tackle. The All Blacks come away, Shelford charging onto the ball like a locomotive. They specialise at the breakdown. Schuster, elusive runner. Cook got there. Williams across in cover. Now it's Garriella, pushed out of the way. Australia set it up. Liner, Gardner, charging into New Zealand. But there's no one there to pick up the crumbs for Australia. Ball was out. Shelford goes down. Steve McDowell. Strong tackle by Harthill. It bounces out. Deans again. Relentless pressure from New Zealand. Gallagher away to right. Liner across. Farr Jones got him. Try-saving tackle again from the Australian skipper. Australia really holding on here.
There's some great continuity there. Players flinging themselves to the Mark Harthill in everything, in the tough stuff. But that back row of New Zealand just forming that link between the tight forwards and those fast-running backs, and it's just the continuity in their play is just really stretching the Australians right out. There, Damien Frawley rides on the ground from a stray boot that came over the top of him, but still that ball comes down the line. It was Wright doing well. He got outside Michael Liner, who's not slow, and Nick Farr Jones in desperation the ball there. And in fact, Wright didn't have to release the ball. He wasn't effectively tackled.
"22 minutes remaining in the Test match. And Bruce Dean's well offside. The ball wasn't out of the scrum. Relief here for Australia.
Good scrum by Australia. They've been able to really withstand that concerted push by the All Blacks, and I think of anything today, that has been a very positive step for the team assembled earlier this week.
"30 metres from Australia's goal line. New Zealand leading by 23 points to 7. 4 tries, 2 to John Kirwan, 1 to Alan Wetton, and 1 to Steve McDowell. Brewer and Cutler at the back. Good two-handed catch, but New Zealand's body height forces him back. They got down low.
And again, the crowd might roar, but the basic there is very simple. Got to be going forward, otherwise the attacking side get to put into the scrum.
Cutler a little bit slow to get back to the scrum. All that good work undone. And New Zealand wheeled. Deans, Williams and Wright. No way through. But the support is there from Brewer. Halfway through the second term. Shelford, Poitevin and Liner. Here they go. What can New Zealand do? Kirwan and Campese. It's Gallagher. Great tackle. Stanley. Schuster. Fabulous try. Support in numbers out wide, and John Schuster has scored his first try in Test match football in his very first Test.
Classic confrontation, this. Superb rugby. Work wide to the flying feet of John Kirwan, and there's the confrontation. Campese is up to the task. Gallagher there it was, coming into the line and picking up Schuster for the try. Great play here by Shelford off the back, carrying the ball deep into Australia's territory. Julian Gardner, instead of getting the ball up in his hands, kicked it free, and here they use it and punish Australia. The dummy run of Kerwin, Gallagher and Campese, and here that beautiful lob pass. And Jay Stanley, wouldn't you have him in any team you had run on the field? John Schuster, as we saw in that World Cup in the sevens, scoring prolifically out wide.
New Zealand has this test match all parcelled up. 27 points to 7. And Grant Fox makes it 29. But at least half the crowd here at Concord are Kiwis, and they have plenty to cheer about. The All Blacks really flexing their muscles this afternoon.
This was great support play, and after the good work by Shelford off the back, Gallagher did everything. He stretched the defence wide. There's Stanley, strong and inside, and it was just that strength of numbers that brought that 4-pointer.
Well, the Australians playing for pride now. They've really borne the brunt of the explosive All Blacks this afternoon, showing why they are the world champions. Far Jones coming through on Deans. And Wayne Shelford with a hefty boot downfield to Liner. Inside Fitzpatrick. Well caught, Murray Pearce. And New Zealand players handling the ball on the ground against the tackle player Murray Pearce, the big Wellington policeman.
Well, fairly clear decision there by Fred Howard. Murray Pearce, once making the tackle, can't have anything more to do with the play until he gets back to his feet. And he played the ball.
Liner going for distance, not finding touch. Gallagher getting more angle. 35 metres out.
Michael Liner looking just a little rattled. Not often you get caught by the All Black forward pack going forward.
Pearce got it. Now Lawton for Australia. Liner hoists. Dean's underneath. Here comes Cook. Oh, what a tackle. Reminiscent of the one he pulled off on Serge Blanco. But amazingly, New Zealand comes away with it. Andrew leads, back with Campese. And Ian Williams. Campese straightening. He's found space. Australia ruck it back.
Been knocked on by Australia, but not seen by Fred Howard.
Liner. To Far Jones. Standing in the tackle with strength. There's no halfback. McDowell came through and pinched the ball. Now it's Gallagher. Harthill chases. A lot of energy, but little result for the Australians.
Australia just lacked that support of numbers out wide. When the break comes and there's something on, it's not in a pattern. It's a one-out situation, and the Australian back row being run right ragged across the field.
Yes, well, the Australians, Chris, this afternoon have really lacked a terrier at the breakdown, and a real blow losing Jeff Miller before the first test.
I think that's been rather critical looking at it, but Julian Gardner and Simon Poitevin has done as well as they possibly can. But here into it comes the attacking skills, the counter-attack. Campese does well, fading wide, and there was a lot of All Blacks out wide. But here, no support. He goes straight pass, and that ball coming forward off Australia, that's the one that needed to be picked up and kept close because they were skinny out wide. Just no break on out there.
$29 points to 7. 15 minutes to go. Cutler got it well. Cook. Here comes Williams. Back to Campese. Losing ahead. Mistakes by Australia in midfield.
Well, there Campese losing that ball before making the contact. There was a wall in front of him as he got brought in. It was a clever move by Australia to involve him. First the wrap, then the split in the middle.
Sean Fitzpatrick striking too soon. Bar Jones plays on quickly. Here's Liner and Campese. Well, they just didn't have the numbers there, Australia. Campese to Deans. And there's no one back here for Australia. Kerwin hearing after it. But it's all or nothing now for the Australians. 22 points behind on the scoreboard.
Good luck to them. They're trying everything. It's unfortunate when that happens, though. The smallest error is just magnified.
Frawley at the front. Fitzpatrick coming through. New Zealand looking for another try. They've scored 5 already. Schuster. And here's the support play. Liner comes through. Wayne Shelford. Deans probing. McDowell. Back to Fox. Australia short. Gallagher. Fitzpatrick. He scored 2 tries at Concord here last year. The Australians very tired. Pearce. He's never scored a test try.
And is destined not to. Great support play again. Alan Wetton. There Brewer. Then Pearce brought into play. Running straight. Running hard. Staying on his feet. Waiting for the support to come. He gets ever so close.
Well, the Australian players are on their knees at the moment. New Zealand camped on the goal line. And some very weary Australian forwards. The intensity of the All Black play has been quite staggering.
Good support play. Deans picks up the man short here. Fox. Great tackle by Cook. And that stalls it momentarily centre field. But neither the All Blacks nor Australia can control the ball. And it takes Steve McDowell, number 1, to finally be able to work the ball back from this play. Here he is, shooting the ball back.
New Zealand crowd calling for a pushover. But the All Blacks are pushed backwards. 5 metres, Shelford. He ran into a strong tackle by Simon Poitevin. Deans. Close to the goal line.
Great drive by Australia in the scrum, but they'll need some more. They'll need it one more time. All Blacks still with possession, still with the opportunity. They don't waste it often.
Shelford wheels it. Scrum has collapsed. But the Australian scrummaging has been one encouraging aspect from this game.
It has been. Gordon come forward when it should. Good concentration, particularly under these circumstances. But they'll need it all now.
Going down on this side, Richard Lowe and Mark Harthill. Shelford off the back again. Back it goes to Alan Wetton. Deans, Fox, Stanley. Here comes Kerwin, but they dropped it. We haven't seen too many mistakes from New Zealand this afternoon.
No, rare, particularly in those circumstances. But good pressure from Australia. Firstly through the scrum, and then through a very flat backline alignment, defensive alignment, that was clear on their role, and they performed it.
Liner, back inside to Cook. He claps on the pace. Pass was a bad one. Off the foot, here's Far Jones. Liner in at halfback. All Black spoil. Garriella. And that's about all he could do in that situation.
Sure was. Running the ball from inside your 22 against an All Black pack that are 22 points in front. It's a daunting task. They tried it, and then they just ran out of man.
So the Australians have it all to do in the second test at Ballymore in a fortnight. New Zealand certainly winning this match, Chris, in the first 11 minutes of play.
Those mistakes early were critical, and how often have we seen in other test matches that early bounce of the ball be made go and taken advantage of in Australia's favour, and it's been that set them onto the path to similar victories. But the All Blacks have deserved it today. They've worked hard at it, particularly their back row, and the efficiency of Grant Fox to keep that ball up in front of their forwards and just rolling forward all the time. Good tactic employed by Alec Wiley, and well carried out by Sholford, Wetton, and also Mike Brewer in the back row, who've been a key.
Alan Wetton cleverly to his twin brother, Gary. The All Blacks really playing with confidence now. Wetton again in the drive, and Shelford. Australians regroup. So Bruce Deans, the shepherd from Glenmark, to feed on the 22. Little chip, Campese. Dangerous pass to Liner. They got away with it.
Well, I don't know. There's nothing to be gained from a pass like that. Although we come a few yards further out, simply to go into touch with the ball in possession was no loss of face there. David Campese trying that Hail Mary stuff, as I say. Not a great option there when you pull your head up out of a scrum to see it floating in the air untouched.
29 points to 7. Again, well, Shelford. Schuster. Back to Stanley. Fitzpatrick supports from hooker and goes ahead like a bull. And the fitness in the last 10 minutes of the New Zealand forwards really starting to come to the fore.
Powering through both the back row. They're getting off the ground. Again, Alan Wetton. And also the hooker, Sean Fitzpatrick.
Another big push from Australia. A mighty surge there from the Australian scrum. Nick Farr-Jones plays on quickly. Back to Gardner. It's a better setup here from the Australians. Liner leads. Ten-metre line, New Zealand territory.
It's a very tired Australian pack that are facing this next line out at the sideline. New Zealand, they're tired also, but they're full of running. Keeping the ball in close to the forwards, not spreading it too wide. taking the pressure off their backs.
And Chris, this is the first time Australia's been up in New Zealand's half in the last 15 minutes.
Yes, it's been an unfortunate statistic, Gordon, yet the rugby being played is ferocious. There's tremendous commitment. There's that inability just to slowly but surely work the ball up the line. Australia not enjoyed that dominance that they may have thought on the line out. Damien Frawley, broken leg in Argentina to remember, having some treatment to a leg there.
Yes, well, New Zealand has 5 line-out jumpers. Plenty of options there. Dean's well caught. Gardner the tackler. But immediately the ball is scooped up by the All Blacks. They couldn't control. Offside play against Grant Fox.
Australia need to move quickly from here.
Bar Jones. Back into Frawley. Australia looking for their second try. It pops out for Cutler. And the Australians have it. Liner. Leeds coming through. Ella couldn't pick up. This is Ian Williams, but there was a knock-on. Referee playing advantage there.
Well, such has been the New Zealand backline defensive pattern today that Australia have had to resort to the kick over the top on no less than 3 occasions. The only way that Michael Linus felt that he could penetrate that line is being able to just chip over the top, and that's a poor commentary on the constructiveness of a great backline.
Leeds coming through. Pass was charged. This is Williams. He's lost it. Schuster and Campese. The All Blacks have about 4-on-1 here. Good tackle by Campese. And Schuster really blew that one. There was a man unmarked inside.
David Campese just waited, made sure he had isolated Schuster wide. There was no way of him being able to get the ball back inside, and made sure of it going over the top, ball and all the tackle. Just simply a race for pace. It was good balance by Campese at the last minute.
Liner attacking from his goal line. He's gone through 5 New Zealanders. Five minutes to go. .2-point lead. Bar Jones. Beautiful pass back inside. Australia here losing it to Deans. And that really has been the story of the day. Here's Shelford. He's gone straight through. Liner from behind. And they went without it. Now Australia counter. There was a second knock on. The first one was by New Zealand. Well, the Australians have been far from disgraced here this afternoon. They've showed a lot of courage against tremendous odds. Gallagher follows. Liner's back there. Steps out of the tackle of Gallagher. And a nice kick up the touchline. Liner just yelling at the touch judge, Mr. Kinsey, saying that he'd cheated him at least 10 metres. But he was quickly put in his place by the referee. 5 tries to 1. A telling statistic. The world champions in control here at Concord. Bruce Deans. New Zealand forwards finishing very strongly. The Australians still on the ground. And look at the overlap here. Stanley. Gallagher tackled by Campese. They keep it going. Kerwin. Now it's Fox. Back to Deans. New Zealand somehow keeping the ball alive. Wrights. Away to Brewer. He straightens. Williams the tackler. Players on both sides very tired. Fitzpatrick. He's almost there. Courageous tackle by Julian Gardner. They've kicked across for Campese on the left wing. Kerwin there first. And Gallagher in support. Another good tackle by Campese. Stanley now. Schuster. This is dangerous. McDowell. Well, the Australians fully stretched. There's another overlap. Gallagher. Terry Wrights. Williams the tackler. Simply magnificent defence here from the Australians. Great character and bravery from this Australian side, who have refused to die here this afternoon, although they've been outgunned. A minute to go. Shelford, close to the line. Australia come away. Playing the ball on the ground against the Australians. Time almost up on the clock. Round one of the '88 Bledisloe Cup has gone to New Zealand, and Grant Fox will have a shot for goal. The hooter has sounded. The match is up on the clock. The coup de grace now from Grant Fox. Let's run through the scorers. For New Zealand, McDowell after 2 minutes, Kerwin in the 8th and 11th minutes. In the second half, Alan Wetton after 5, and John Schuster, his first test try, in the 21st minute. Fox 3 conversions and 1 penalty, and is successful here. A personal tally of 12 points for him, remembering he averages nearly 18 in test matches. No mistake. New Zealand by 32 points to 7. A comprehensive beating for the Australians this afternoon. But they'll be back to do battle in the second test at Ballymore, and that will be played in 2 weeks' time. Australia's try scorer was Ian Williams after 21 minutes. A penalty goal to Liner. Statistics on the game. The lineouts went to New Zealand by 20 to 13. Penalties favoured Australia by 14 to 6. The rucks and mauls were 26 to 14 New Zealand's way, and Australia made 17 errors to New Zealand's 8. So New Zealand supporters streaming onto the field, but the crowd really appreciating this great All Black side here this afternoon. The Australians can hang their heads in the air, and the crowd in this Western Grandstand giving New Zealand a standing ovation. Mistake-free rugby in the first half. 14-4 it was at half-time. Let's now go down to Chris Handy, who's with Wayne Shelford.
Well, Wayne Shelford, you
easily dispelled any of Alaguali's early thoughts that you may not have been as committed as you might have thought for the game?
Oh, well, you know, we've done our homework over the last week, and you know, just by the performance out there, I think the guys really put it on this game. They knew they had to.
The early tries that came with the Australian mistakes, was that a bit of a surprise to you, or had you intended...
We'll take every point they're going to give us.
The Grant Fox, the decision to put the ball up behind the Australians and rather than down the line, that worked very successfully for you.
Well, yeah, you know, you've got to use all possibilities, and we used a few different ones that we're normally using, and all credit to the Blacks, they played well, but I know we're going to be in for a tough one for the second test.
The pace of your back row to the breakdown today was a crucial factor with Gardner and also Poitevin in the back row. Was that an area that you specifically made some attempt to fix up?
Oh, sure. You know, we haven't been making it in the last few games, but I think Mike Brewer come through his test very, very well with an injured leg, and credit to AJ, done a bit of groundwork, and yeah, great. Pretty hard against Simon though.
Now up to Queensland for the second test. You're looking forward to that. Of the games in between, they've been fairly hard, and you have, although you've won well, you've been less than pleased with your performances. You think that'll change from here on in?
I think with the test behind us, I think the other guys will be inspired, and they'll go out there and play enterprising football, but tough stuff, yeah.
Well, congratulations anyway, and we look forward to seeing you in Ballymore.
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Chris Handy. And Wayne Shelford has been described by Peter Thorburn, the North Harbour coach in New Zealand, coach in charge of Wayne Shelford's side, as the most influential captain he's seen in 30 years of first-class rugby. He really is a mighty player, the former phys ed instructor in the Royal New Zealand Navy, leading by example. And New Zealand blazing on all guns this afternoon after some not so convincing lead-up form against Randwick, Australia B and New South Wales country. But you can't be more conclusive than they have this afternoon. 32 points to 7, 5 tries, 3 conversions and 2 penalty goals. Grant Fox edging closer to Don Clark's record of 207 points. He's now 18 points from that record and almost certainly will eclipse the great Don Clark in this series. It all started for New Zealand in the early stages of the first half, and then the final try to John Schuster. His brother David plays for the Northern Suburbs Club in Sydney. What a moment for him. Wayne Shelford charging into the Australian men in close, and then quick hands along the line, and what's the support play inside? New Zealand through Stanley, who came onto the ball at full pace, and John Schuster, who was the man of the tournament in the Sydney Sevens here at Concord. A fine game for the World 15, also here at Concord. And the Australian supporters probably leaving and shaking their heads, but in awe of this New Zealand side. Well, we trust you enjoyed this telecast from Concord, going right round Australia and also to Papua New Guinea. That's the scene here at Concord. The All Blacks now move to Canberra, where they take on ACT this Wednesday. And of course, the second test will be seen live on ABC television from Ballymore in a fortnight. Gordon Bray and Chris Handy for ABC Sport.